Something is coming. Something hungry for blood.
Will Byers didn't just get unlucky the night he vanished. He was practically gift-wrapped for whatever nightmare was watching Hawkins. Vecna never wanted the strongest kid. He wanted the quiet one, the one who slipped under everyone's radar. And Will, biking home after D&D with that soft, anxious energy, might as well have been broadcasting, "Easy target here." The shed scene proves it. Most people remember the shotgun and flickering lights, but the real horror is how the room seems to accept what's coming. It's as if the Upside Down recognized him before the Demogorgon even stepped through. Will didn't scream, didn't run far, almost like something inside him already belonged to that other world. And fans haven't stopped wondering why. Some even think Joyce's bizarre brush with Henry Creel in 1959 marked her family long before Will was born.
I'm Henry Creel.
Turning him into prime Vecna material. It's a stretch, but Stranger Things has pulled off weirder connections. Vecna didn't just choose Will, he selected a vessel. Someone easy to shape, someone whose mind could be opened like a locked diary. And the moment Will slipped into the Upside Down, the tether was forged. But this was just the first layer of the nightmare. Season 2 shows what the monster really wanted from him. Everyone called them episodes, but really they were the hive mind, flipping through his memories like a photo album it didn't ask permission to open. The now memories weren't visions, they were surveillance footage. Will wasn't seeing the Upside Down, he was streaming it. And the worst part? The Mind Flayer treated him like a walking Wi-Fi booster. Whenever something shifted in the dark, Will felt it first. Heat, cold, pain. It all hit him like his nerves were wired straight into the monster's nervous system. When the tunnels burned, he convulsed. When the creatures moved, he shivered. He wasn't possessed, not really. He was linked, the way a puppet is linked to a hand. Fans later realized these moments weren't signs of weakness. They were the earliest hints of psychic ability. Will wasn't just receiving signals. He was translating them, understanding them, reacting to them faster than anyone else. By the time the Mind Flayer fully hijacked him, the truth was already obvious. Will wasn't just a victim. He was becoming a conduit. But that wasn't the real warning sign. Season 3 showed how dangerous his emotions actually were.
Wake up!
Oh my God.
Season 3 tried to convince us Will was just the forgotten friend in the corner, waving his wizard staff like a kid who never got the memo that childhood had expired. But beneath all the mall chaos and exploding rats, something far stranger was happening. Will's emotions were turning into warning sirens. That moment in the rain and the infamous "I said forget it" meltdown wasn't just a broken friendship. It was a psychic pressure valve snapping. Every time Will felt abandoned or out of place, the Upside Down seemed to pulse with him, like his loneliness was feeding the connection. His goosebumps weren't nostalgia, they were alarms from a dimension that still claimed him. He sensed danger before anyone else, long before the Mind Flayer grew legs and decided to go shopping at Starcourt. Fans jokingly called it his spider sense, but really it was the first sign his emotions could amplify the tether. The more lost he felt, the clearer the signal became. Season 3 barely gave him screen time, yet it delivered a crucial truth. Will doesn't need to be near the Upside Down for it to whisper back. All it takes is a crack in his heart. But then Season 4 arrived, and suddenly that crack became a doorway.
I'm afraid your friends are very much in the eye of the storm. A war is coming to Hawkins. You are our only hope.
It throws you straight into the sewer and hopes you float. Maddie vanishes, Lily hears voices, Teddy's lamp grows a pulse, and the theater turns into a musical massacre. And somehow, that's just the intro. Want the breakdown for episode 2? Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me which scene messed you up the most. Season 4 pretended it was about road trips and pizza, but really it was about Will carrying a secret big enough to power a small psychic meltdown. The painting became the symbol everyone obsessed over, not because of the artwork, but because of the lie wrapped around it. Will poured his whole heart into that canvas, then handed it to Mike while pretending it meant nothing. That speech in the back of the van? Fans called it emotional torture in slow motion. But here's the part nobody wants to think about. Moments like that make his connection stronger. Will wasn't just sad, he was vibrating on a frequency the Upside Down loves. Emotional suppression is practically psychic fertilizer, and Vecna has been eavesdropping on him since 1983. If Will's heartache could be measured in volts, Hawkins would have gone dark. Some fans even theorize that Vecna felt that Van's speech, not the words, but the surge behind them. A wave of longing, regret, confusion. The kind of emotional cocktail that probably tastes delicious to a psychic monster. Season 4 didn't give Will powers yet, but it gave him something more dangerous. Pressure. And pressure is exactly what cracks a dormant ability wide open. But all that was just the warm-up. Season 5 finally shows what happens when the connection takes over.
Can you see the children? You were the first. You showed me what I could achieve. Some biomes simply do not belong in this world.
By Season 5, Will stopped pretending he was just feeling weird. The kid basically turned into a psychic radio tower. Every time the Upside Down breathed, he caught the signal. Dust particles, Demogorgon movement, portals opening miles away. Will picked all of it up like Hawkins' most cursed weather forecast. This wasn't intuition. It wasn't trauma. It was the hive mind using him like premium equipment. The Duffers even confirmed it. Will's abilities aren't standalone powers like Eleven's. He isn't generating anything, he's channeling whatever the Upside Down already has. It's proximity-based, meaning the closer he gets to the source, the louder everything becomes. And once he walked back into those woods, the volume didn't just increase, it snapped. Will wasn't scared anymore. He was tuned in, fully synced. The Upside Down didn't whisper to him, it spoke through him. And every creature connected to that hive reacted as if they sensed a familiar frequency returning home. This is the phase where fans realize something unsettling. Will doesn't need to fight monsters. He is the connection that controls them. But that was nothing compared to what happened when all that power finally erupted. Because in the finale, Will stopped receiving the signal and started weaponizing it. When the finale hit, Will didn't ease into his powers. He detonated them. 1 second he was panicking, watching the people he loves get cornered by Demogorgons. The next, the entire hive mind went silent, like someone pulled the plug on a nightmare.
Stay away from him!
Creatures froze mid-attack, limbs suspended, eyes hollow. It was the exact same kill signature Vecna used, except this time it came from Will. His eyes glazed over with that frosted, otherworldly haze. The look of someone who isn't just connected to the Upside Down, but commanding it. The hive mind didn't fight him. It obeyed, the way it obeys Vecna, which is the detail nobody can shake off. Will didn't mimic a power. He accessed the original source, bypassing every rule the show made for psychic abilities. And for the first time, Vecna felt it. The monster that once saw Will as a fragile little vessel suddenly realized he had created a rival. Someone who can manipulate the same network, the same power, the same psychic bloodstream that feeds him. This wasn't Will unlocking potential. This was Will flipping the hierarchy. But the truly disturbing part? If Will can do what Vecna does, he might also suffer the same cost. Now that Will's connection has blown wide open, fans started listing his potential abilities. And the list reads less like helpful powers and more like a paranormal tax form. At the top is telekinesis, because if he can freeze a Demogorgon mid-lunge, stopping anything smaller is child's play. Then there's memory navigation. The same trick Vecna uses to peel open people's minds like old photo albums. Will could theoretically slip into someone's memories without ever leaving the room. And if that isn't unsettling enough, he can also communicate across dimensions. Not talk exactly, more like broadcast raw emotion, pressure, intent. Vecna's been doing it for years, and now Will can push back through the same psychic tunnel. But the most dangerous part? Will can command anything connected to the hive mind. Demogorgons, Demodogs, Demobats, all of them answer to the same network. And now that network answers to him too. He could shut down an entire swarm with a single surge of panic, rage, or fear. Fans argue he might even speak in the hive mind's language, the way Vecna does, not with words but with mental force. If true, Will is the only person alive who can fight Vecna without ever touching him. But every power has a shadow. And the shadow hanging over Will is the most brutal theory of all. Here's the part everyone avoids because it hits a little too hard. Will might not make it out of the final battle. His powers aren't cute superhero upgrades, they're a tether. And every time the Upside Down takes damage, that pain shoots straight through him. We saw the first hint back in Season 2 when burning a single vine sent him into agony. Now imagine that reaction when the entire dimension collapses. If Vecna goes down, the hive mind goes with him. And if the hive mind goes, what happens to the kid who's basically plugged into its central nervous system? Fans fear Will's connection isn't just emotional, it's biological, psychic, structural. Pick your nightmare. Severing Vecna might accidentally sever Will too. Narratively, it makes painful sense. Will was the first victim, the original target, the boy who never truly came back. Ending his story in the final showdown would echo the entire series. But thematically, killing the character who spent years fighting for identity and belonging? Yeah, that's a message nobody wants stamped on a finale. Still, the theory refuses to die. Because no matter how powerful Will becomes, his strength is tied to something built to consume him. And that leaves one chilling question. If destroying Vecna is the only way to save Hawkins, who's going to save Will? So that's Will Byers. The kid Hawkins thought was fragile, now carrying the one power Vecna never meant anyone else to touch. Whether he becomes the town's salvation or its final casualty, that's the part nobody's ready to watch play out. If you want the next breakdown on Season 5's hidden clues, character twists, or every cursed detail the Duffers buried in this story, make sure to like the video, drop your theories in the comments, and subscribe. Because the real nightmare is only getting started.